Dr. Abraham, Mrs. Abraham, thanks for coming on the show. So let's start with, you guys are from, remind me?
I grew up in Dubai. My parents are from India. And so I did all my schooling in Dubai, different parts of UAE, Abu Dhabi, Dubai. For my college, I went to India. And then once we got married, I was here in the US.
So for me, just like Pinky's parents, my parents were expatriates to Qatar. And I lived in Qatar till I was 18. I went to an Indian school until middle school, and then an American International School for high school in Qatar. So I was in an environment where it was kind of American based. So, and then I went to medical school. It was an exchange program where you do half in India and half in Trinidad. And then I went and worked in England for 2.5 years for my internship, and then I came over to the US because I wanted to specialize in pediatric emergency medicine specifically. So came here, did the boards, and then did residency in East Tennessee University in Johnson City, Tennessee, and my fellowship was at St. Louis. Now I've been attending here at Children's Mercy, Kansas City for the last 10 years in the emergency department.
You've had a lot of different experiences with different cultures.
Yes.
Right?
I just mentioned several continents and countries in like 2 lines. Yes.
So what's the difference? Is there a big difference between culture in India and, what'd you say?
Middle East and Qatar.
Yeah,
Middle East,
Qatar. Yeah.
Yes. So, the Middle Eastern countries, there's a lot of expatriates who come in to do a lot of the professional work. And my parents, like in the 70s, they were both physicians, and they went in the 70s to Qatar.
Why'd they go there?
So it was opportunity and money. Obviously, they paid more, and you had more opportunity to develop yourself. There was no taxes. That's another thing to think about. Like, as a foreign doctor working there, you didn't have to, like the country of Qatar didn't have taxes, even for their own people, because obviously they had natural gas and they had oil, so there was no taxes. So it was always a very good opportunity to go to the Middle East. So a lot of Indians go to the Middle East for that reason, So there's a lot of doctors, engineers, professionals that end up getting recruited heavily from India.
And it's closer to home too, so it's just a 4-hour flight from Qatar or Dubai to where we live.
And the medical system at that time was very similar to the British system in Qatar. So the medical system in India also kind of came from that kind of background. So they would like to recruit doctors from India for that reason.
So what made you decide to become a physician?
So like I said, my parents were both physicians, and they actually told me, are you sure you want to do this? Because it's a lifelong thing. And I did not want to be a doctor. Until I was in 11th grade, I was like, I'm not going to be a doctor. Like, I just don't want to do that life. I thought I was going to be a computer engineer, and I did, I think, Pascal in AP computers. And I was like, I like to talk to people. I think when I looked at that, when you do software programming, you're almost creating the problem. Like, you have to take time to create the problem. I think I was more into solving the problem, and talking to people and learning about people and actually treating people. With my family, my mom is OBGYN, my father's a family physician. There's people always came to our home for healthcare. At that time, people used to, friends, family, patients, I've always seen them around them, and I've seen them treating them. So that kind of sense of healing that you do for other people, that you don't get from something else. And I think eventually when I realized that, I knew that was it for me. Even when I first started medical school, I had doubts in the first 2 years. But as soon as I started seeing patients and I got more attracted to pediatrics, then it was like no turning back.
What about pediatrics were you interested in?
So I always say this, what I like about pediatrics, or I feel passionate about pediatrics, is a lot of the times when the kids are sick, it's not a lifestyle disease or something. It's not because of something they did or something like that, or not just that. It's just I feel like innately I do more. I work harder when I was in my pediatric rotation because I'm more conscious that, okay, the parents are involved, the kid is really sick, so I need to do more. Like, I felt more passion to treat the kids. Like, I could feel that when I was in my pediatric rotation versus my adult rotations. Not that I don't like adults, but I think kids are different. And then I feel more passionate about treating kids who are sick. Yeah.
I would say, maybe a lot of the cases are based on going back to the parents.
It is.
It's not really the kids. They're not really going to the grocery store and choosing what they're going to eat for the most part.
Yes.
Maybe they are. Who knows?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, a big part of pediatrics is navigating parents' concerns.
Probably counseling. A lot of parent counseling.
There is a lot of counseling, but ultimately, when you heal a child, like in the emergency room, when you can fix something, it's a great feeling. So there are days like if I don't go to work for a long time, I actually miss it. I would say that.
Wow, that means that means you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Yes, I 100% think that. Yes.
What did you do before you had kids?
So I went to dental school, and then that was in India. Mm-hmm. So once I came here, they told me that I had to do my undergrad and my dental school if I had to practice.
After how many years of already going to school?
5.
Wow.
Yeah, so
another, what is it, 6, 8?
Yes. And I don't think I was that passionate, to be honest. So I was like, I don't think that's worth my time and money, you know, to go back. So how it works in India is when you go to college, it's like fast track. So you decide, you can't change your mind. It's not credits. So you say you're going to a dental program and you stick with it for the rest of until it's done. If you want to quit, you have to completely quit it and then start a different program. So I think by third year, I kind of figured out it wasn't really what I want to do, but then I had to be there. But I loved all the medical subjects. So I had to do, until my third year, it was all common medical subjects like general surgery, general medicine, pathology, everything that the medical students did. And there was a final year that we focused on dental subjects. So I thought I really wanted to do medicine at that time. But then obviously I had to quit the whole thing and start all over again. It wasn't an option. So then, you go with it. And then once I got here, I just didn't want to do it. I was like, kind of tried, I said, okay, let me just do some core classes, let me see, go to college. So while he was doing his residency in Tennessee, I did some history classes, just kind of core, just to gauge. I did a little bit of digital media. And then, by then, I got pregnant with Zara, my first child. And then he's like, okay, now it's time to move to the next city because I have to do my fellowship. And I was like, okay. So then I went to St. Louis. And then, so
then after
got
3
busy.
years, it was like, okay, next city, Kansas City.
So really didn't have that time to go back and have a career. But during COVID, it hit me really hard. And I was like, okay, what do I like really? Oh, in between, I did do some photography. And then, I used to take pictures for my friends just by word of mouth. And I thought I was going well, I was doing, but, I wasn't really passionate about it. I think I enjoyed the most the editing part of it, more than taking pictures, I think. I enjoyed, but I thought it was exhausting to get the emotions out of the kids, I think. Adults are easier.
You gotta be like, hey, smile.
I know. So, but one thing I could understand the most is medicine. Like, it's like, I don't know, probably again, it's the environment I'm in. I listen to him, and it's just, I just get the body. I just understand healthcare so much. So it's like, okay, what can I do? So I went back to school during COVID, 2020, 2 years. I did inpatient coding, medical coding. I got certified, and then I started a job in that. And then soon I realized it was probably not the best option right now. I had to kind of refocus on the kids.
You guys have 2 kids, that's a full-time job in itself.
It is, and I just had to pick my priorities, and so,
You guys have been here 20 years, is that what you said?
10 years.
In the
10 years, sorry. 10, so I've
in
been 10 years.
Kansas.
Kansas City.
What about in the United States?
Oh, I've been here since 2007, but we together.
2009. So 15, 16 years.
And you guys just got your citizenship.
Yes.
Was that a difficult process?
It was a long process.
Yeah.
So, I was on something called J1 visa, which is like an exchange student visitor, like a student physician visa. So the condition on that is once you're done your training, you have to go work in an underserved area for 3 years. And then you apply for your immigrant status. So if you're training for 6 years, you can't even start the process until you do that 3-year waiver. So I couldn't have really started some of those things until 6-7 years into my training. So then, since we came to Kansas City, we did the 3-year waiver. Then, since then, we've stayed here and got everything done. But initially we got the green card, and then it was another 5 years of wait to get it. So that's why our process was longer. For some people who are on like a different kind of visa, it's faster.
Yeah, it's a tedious process, let me say. Like when you're on J visa, every time you exit, every year you have to renew it. So you have to go to a consulate in India or the country you're visiting and get it re-stamped. So when you're in H visa, when he started his work, you have to do it every 3 years.
Yeah.
So the process is kind of long, lengthy.
It's long and complicated.
Yeah, complicated, but
we did it.
How does it feel now after you got it? Citizenship?
No, it feels good. As in, like, I think we worked very hard towards it. We did it all the right way.
Yeah.
And we learned about it, did it the right way, and I'm grateful for Children's Mercy for supporting me through this career and even getting me where I am right now. Yeah.
I always say this to, our friends. The problem is that, so we grew up in the Middle East, right? And so we quite didn't live in India, though we are Indians, our parents go back, but we had no rights in that country. Like, born there, raised there, doesn't matter. Once your parents don't have a work visa, no one sponsors you, you have to go back to your home country. But we never lived in India. So we never belonged in the Middle East, neither did we belong in India.
You had no home.
We didn't have a home.
I was
Right.
born in Qatar,
Right.
but obviously you being born there doesn't grant you citizenship.
All rights.
In Qatar.
All rights.
nothing,
Rights.
right.
It's right.
It does here.
Yes.
It does.
didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that's
Most countries in the world don't.
right, and that's
Even the UK.
Yeah.
So most countries don't have birthright citizenship.
Yes.
Interesting.
And so that's why.
Not, I would say most. There's a lot of countries in Europe they do, but
Asian countries, maybe not?
I'm not very sure about Asia.
Yeah.
I can tell you about India and GCC countries.
Okay.
So India, obviously, if you're born in India, you have it. But if you're in a GCC country, which is one of the Middle Eastern countries, you default to the citizenship of your parents. So, like, because
Right.
my parents were Indian, I go to an Indian consulate and get an Indian passport. That's
Interesting.
Right. So that's why if you see our cousins or anybody I know want to get out of the Middle East and go to the US or UK, because obviously you want to ultimately belong somewhere, right? Mm-hmm. And so, we really appreciate the freedom and the rights this country offers. And for sure, like, a lot of people want to come here. It's for that reason.
Yeah.
Right, but I feel like when you're in the country, sometimes you don't see it.
We take it for granted.
You take it for granted, you know.
Yeah. How did you guys first hear about KOMA?
So, a lot of people know the story, but I'm going to repeat it, and I'm so passionate about it, so I will. So, it started when Zayden was 4 years old, which is my youngest. He was into Avengers movie a lot, a superhero movie, right? Mm-hmm. And so just one random day, he said he wanted to learn how to fight, and that's when I was like, oh, martial arts. I had no idea. I didn't know anyone who did martial arts. I had no clue about the whole martial arts, studio, and also. So I had an older daughter. I have an older daughter, which is, she was 8 at that time, and she didn't want to do anything with martial arts. So that was the first time I thought about the idea of martial arts, right? And so I just went online and I Googled and I found a studio. I didn't know anything about it. I spoke to Mrs. Brock then, and she gave me the appointment to come the same day and try it out. And so we walked in, and I remember at that time I was like, it's a nice studio, because I hadn't seen another studio, right? So I didn't know what it was supposed to look. Yeah. Now I appreciate it even more, but at that time I was okay, it's a nice studio, Yeah. So that's how it all started.
Yeah. So we were the first ones that you came across.
Yes.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's good SEO. And then, so Zayden got started. But Zara didn't.
Exactly.
She was watching class, right?
She did, yeah. So Zayden got started, and as time went by, we figured out it would be such a good fit for Zara. Because, so with Zayden, I have to tell you, he hadn't gone to a preschool or any of that sort before KOMA. Like, he was with me because he was only 4, and I think he started going to preschool when he was 5 years old the next year. So I wasn't even sure if he would follow instructions. I was really nervous for him. I was like, how is it going to go? So he did really well. And so we were like, I think this will be a perfect fit for Zara. So Zara had been to dance, ballet, gymnastics, you name it. We've tried. No sport, because she was like, I don't like sports, So we've kind of tried everything, but she never stuck to it. It's not quite stuck to it. It was very hard. After some point, it was like I was dragging her, and she's crying and I'm crying, and it wasn't pretty, to say the least. So we were like, Zara, how about you try this? And she kept saying it was scary. Yeah. She's like, it's so scary. Everyone's shouting. I said, no one's shouting. I mean, I think she was just exaggerating the whole thing in her head.
How many times did she watch?
Oh my God, 2 months straight. She was there every class. And then 2 months straight she watched. And I think it got less scarier and scarier.
Yeah.
And I remember that one specific day when you were, I still have video. I still have the video. So you were taking class for white belt, which Mrs. Brock told me, which quite never happens.
Today, it's a little more rare.
Yeah. So,
when I first started, I taught every single class.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and you just walked up to her like, you want to try? And then, I don't know, I think it was a bit of fear, or she didn't want to say no. I don't know. She was like, yes, And so, I mean, we've been talking to her from that point. Once we realized, almost like every day, I'm like, Sarah, want to try? And she's like, no, want to try? I think slowly she was getting warmed up to the whole idea. And then I remember you and Mr. Gilroy were having conversation whether she should have a class private lesson or a group lesson.
Yeah.
And so she said she just wanted to be in a group because I think it was less intimidating. And so at the end of the class, I remember you walked up to her and said, I want to see your black belt. And the rest is history.
When was that? How long was
2020.
2020. So 5 years
2020.
It's been 5 years.
Yeah.
July probably.
Wow. How long? So Zayden was here for 2 months?
Zayden was here for 2 months.
Got it.
Yeah.
And then Zara just took off.
Yes. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but just specifically Zara, the transformation, it's like 180 degrees.
Yeah.
And she also found her community here.
Yeah.
Like she knows who her people here are, and she feels comfortable. Even to the instructors, she felt comfortable being with them and having her community. So I think if you ask me what's the one constant in her life in the last 5 years, it's probably KOMA. Right?
Yeah.
And then even for Zayden, and then Pinky's here too. I always say she's spokesperson for KOMA.
And we always appreciate that. Yes.
Like Zara thrived. Like until that, she was a very she needed me, she needed a lot of reassurance. She needed me all the time. Like she wouldn't walk in. And I have to tell you, we've been in groups until that. Like we are part of a Bible study group, and she's been in that since she was 2 years old. But I would say every time she walks into the group, she's clinging on to me. She would take like half an hour to warm up and be with the kids, right? She wanted me constantly in KOMA, like after, I think it was a confidence thing, but again, it wasn't immediate. But it almost took a year. But within that year, she transformed. She would be like, "Oh, don't come in, I'll just go." She was.
So she was pretty shy before she started.
Very shy. Very shy. Like she wanted me to walk in every time, any place, and then that changed in KOMA, and that also in school started changing. By when she was in 5th grade, she became student ambassador for school. She would take parents and tour them, show the school, because she was in a new school, Aspen Grove. They had just built it. So they, and the principal, I remember principal wrote this thing, and I shared it with you once. Yeah, she said that Zara would be a leader one day. And I was like, it wasn't the same. Yeah, and I was like, she wasn't like this.
Did you ever think that you would hear that?
No. Also, I always believe that you become like the people you hang out with.
Yeah.
It's like it's a common. We've heard that always. So it's not just who she's around at that time, but it's also the time she's spending here and seeing other people, like seeing people who are a year older than her, or maybe even somebody who's 5 years older than her, or was in high school, how they're modeling their behavior and how they are conducting themselves. I think that's imbibed a lot with the structure you guys have in KOMA, right? And you have the leadership program, I think, has been a great asset too. And talking about like time management, talking about finances, diet, all those things, it's more than the Taekwondo, right? It's, yes, you are doing Taekwondo, but you are adding another layer at that age to hear those things and being around those people, talk about those things, which you might not get in like another sport you're playing or something like that. I think sports are important too, but you're getting more here from not just Taekwondo, is what I'm going to say. Yeah.
And I like that you give them responsibility. You make them responsible for things, right? Like even like when she was in mentorship right from the beginning. When you know that they know, she knows her form, you'll say, okay, why don't you teach this to 2 kids? Take these 2 kids and teach them, right? And that gives them confidence, right? So I think from the beginning, that really worked for her. And she would come to me and say, oh, they asked me to teach 2 kids, right? So this is when she was orange belt. Right? Oh, wow. Yeah. This is right in the beginning, right? I think those things, little things, gave her confidence. Now KOMA's her place.
And for Zayden also now, seeing Zara, he wants to achieve that, right? He wants to be where she is, right? So that's also good for him to see, So I think it's kind of, even though Zayden started, it's Zayden's kind of following her a little bit now too, a little bit.
Well, she's big sister.
Yes.
Yeah. So she started out not wanting to do class. What is she doing today at KOMA?
So she's a mentor. She does the mentorship program, and she started as white, like everybody, then went into black belt club, and then mentorship. Now she's going to be 13, and she's looking forward to the leadership.
I have my daughter too. Yeah. I hear about it every week. I cannot wait until I'm 13 so I can join leadership.
Yeah. So
they just want the black uniform.
Yeah. Exactly. I think
it's a status symbol.
It is. I remember the first time she got gray, and I think that's when you just introduced the mentorship.
Yeah. Yes.
She felt like she was the elite club.
Well, technically she is. I mean, it's invite only, right? Just get invited. Just watching her from my perspective, Zayden too, just their confidence increasing and being able to present themselves in a professional, respectful way, but also speak with confidence. Mm-hmm. And in order for you to lead others, you have to have a voice.
Yes.
This is something that I'm always talking about, even with our adult instructors. Yeah. You can't be a leader, you can't teach if you don't have a voice. Mm-hmm. Speak loud enough, use the appropriate tone, pitch, all that stuff. This is what we're really focusing on even now with our future leaders, because if you can't speak, then how are you going to lead?
Right.
And that is not just with a couple people, but maybe in the future, public speaking.
Yeah.
What's the number one fear? Public speaking, more than anything else, which is crazy, right? But the fastest that a person can get over that and really overcome and master the public speaking, I believe they're going to be so ahead of their peers,
Right.
especially today.
Yes.
I mean, kids don't talk to each other.
No.
They just text each other. They just DM each other, right?
Yes.
But unfortunately, we still need to talk to each other because we're humans and we need body language, right, in order to communicate. So.
And fun fact for you, because you said public speaking. So last when she was in 6th grade, I think there was a project where I think the teacher had given different options. She was the only one who chose to do a presentation in front of the class.
Would you guys have ever thought she would do that?
No.
Yeah.
And then you started class too. Why did you decide to start?
A part of me was because I had to. So I'm a dancer. I do Indian classical dance, and I had done this big graduation where I had to dance for 3 hours. It was a big event, and once that was done, I wanted something that was challenging for me. And to be honest, I think I realized the times when I was sitting here and watching Zara, a lot of times I figured out that unless you challenge yourself, you don't grow, right? And so I was someone who always I was very fearful of things. I would cook stories up in my head, right? About any situation, let's say, and I would try to avoid the situation, right? If it was fearful, I would go and hide, right? And it was, I don't know at what point it struck me that, maybe I should do more things that scare me. And Taekwondo was one of them. I thought it was really cool, but then I thought it was scary, right?
What was scary about it?
That was completely new, and it was just such an unknown thing, and I don't see much adults doing it. So it was just it was just a new thing, right? I don't have any friends who do Taekwondo. I mean, adults. I mean, my kids do it, but yeah. So when I started first, I still remember I used to come in the morning at 12:30 class, and I used to train with the black belts. You used to train me with the black belts. And there was one time when Mr. Gilroy made all the black belts sit in front, and I had to perform my form as a white belt. And it was so intimidating, but after that, I was like, I can do anything.
Yes. Amen. Yes.
I was like, and then otherwise I wanted to do class in the classroom you have. I was like, let's just go on the mat. What's the big deal? Who's watching? Right? Oh my gosh, that was so liberating for me. Like, I was like, after that, I didn't care who looked at me, what they wanted to do.
Good.
So that was my motivator to start, because I just wanted to do something that challenged me. And I thought Taekwondo was so cool.
You have friends now at KOMA, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah, thanks to you for the offer.
Because we've got a lot of moms that are doing it too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And another reason why I started is because I hate working out.
Yeah.
So, and for me, if I don't have accountability, I won't go back. I just will just stay home, right? And KOMA was one place where I had to come with the kids, and I was scared of Mrs. Brock that she'll be like, "Where are you?"
You're not the only one. I'm kidding.
No, so I knew someone here would be like, "Hey, why are you not on the mat?" Right? So I was like, okay. So for that reason, that's another main reason, accountability. I joined here, and then now I just have a bunch of friends. We talk while we're working out. It is so much fun. Oh my gosh.
I also think like right now when they found the rhythm of all three, Pinky, Zara, and Zayden, they all have the class at the same time. It's just easier to come in and get it done, and then you're free the rest of the time.
Yeah.
You're already here.
To do other stuff.
I would rather be there working out than looking on my phone and browsing that things I don't need, right? So, and then we are stretching, and we have our own, like we do a circuit, like we do our own things. You know, Taekwondo is a part of it, but do a lot of, you know, strength training, function training, stretching kind of stuff that we need for, I mean, as adults, it gets harder to sit down. You know, when you do it, you don't think much about it, but I remember one of the moms, and like my friends saying that, Pinky, you just sit down and get up so fast. Like, how do you do it? Because I think I've been doing it, you don't think about it, you lose it. Right? Yes. If you don't do it, you lose it. So I think it's keeping me going, and it's a fun thing to do with Zara and Zayden. I love it. And then I love my friends there. I love Master Gulati. She's amazing. All the instructors.
She's been with me for a long time.
Yeah.
One of the things I have to add is just the power of working out and training barefoot. It is so good for your mobility, your strength in your ankles, knees, hips, and obviously your feet too, because if you're wearing shoes all the time, your feet get weak because they don't have to do anything.
Right.
Yeah. But now you're gripping down, and that right there. As we get older, my opinion is you have to focus on mobility plus balance.
Yes.
Right? Because you know 100%. How when you get older, you break a hip, you're done. And that's obviously what we're always going to be fighting against is gravity.
Yeah.
And the more stable you can have your joints and all the muscles around it, I think that is going to be better. Yeah. So if you had a friend or some acquaintance that is thinking about trying out KOMA with their kids, but then they're on the fence, what would you say to them?
I think there have been several people like that and have joined already. So I think we're pretty good convincers.
What do you usually say to them then?
So I think the big thing is the change beyond not just the Taekwondo, right? It's like having structure, building self-confidence, having that program of mentorship and leadership. Those are the kind of things. Like I think when we first brought Zayden, you know, like whenever we go to an activity, I think I've always said, I always take time to decide, like, is this really a good thing or not? But I think KOMA was one place I was like, okay, well, let's sign up, you know, because those are the things I'm trying to improve myself on too, like leadership, how to talk to people, how to negotiate, how to do all those things. Like if you're adding that as part of your activity, that's huge, right? So you're not going to get that in some other places. So that's something that I tell other people to convince them that it's not just Taekwondo. So it's something more than that here. Then I also do tell parents, like you mentioned, like we were dragging Zara for some of the previous activities. You should try it, and if you don't think that they want to go, or like if it's you're fighting, they're fighting, then it might not be a good fit for you. But if you see that value and your child sees that value, that it's beyond Taekwondo. I think Taekwondo is the core, but there's things beyond that.
Yeah.
I think those are the things that convince people. And I find like sometimes they realize that more when the kids are a little older, not the younger kids. It's easier to convince like somebody in higher elementary or middle school, and they see that the kids see the value too more than I feel like early elementary, kindergarten. They're not completely there. The kids are not there to see what the value is, right? Because they're not seeing the older kids or where they want to head yet.
And that's where the parents have to step in, and they have to decide for the kids. So when we started Zara and Zayden, we said, when we are joining, we said, you can't quit until you're black belts, right? So you set the tone. Yeah. So they never once said till today that they want to quit, because that's the goal. You have to set it as parents. I think it's very important to set the tone for them. If you start, you have to let them try it out and see how it goes. But then it's also, if you're wary about it, like, oh, you want to try it out, or we'll test the waters, it's not going to work, right? Because I've seen parents who've tried and quit early and they've not seen the benefit. That's because you quit early. You have to stick to it to see the benefit, right? It wasn't overnight. What happened to Zara wasn't overnight. It took 1 to 2 years to see that difference. And then now she's flourishing, So, and the other thing, what so Zara and Zayden, even though they started Taekwondo, now they're doing sport. So Zara does volleyball, and Zayden he started with football, flag football. Now he's doing soccer. And I have to tell you that what both coaches told me is that your kids are coachable. And that's such a very important, I think more than skill, I think now what the coaches want you to be like, they want to be able to teach you, right? But I think they got that foundation from KOMA because they had discipline, they knew how to follow instructions, right? So if your child wants to do a sport later, this will only complement you, right? This will only help you. So Zayden probably doesn't even remember a time when he's not worked out 3 times a week. Like he comes here, right? It's ingrained in him, right? Like it's something that we are, I think, setting for a good future for him, like that workout routine, right? Like now he goes, now soccer's like 2 days of practice and 2 days of game. So he's literally going 6 to 7 days a week doing some activity, and he doesn't complain, and he has the stamina. Just recently I heard someone said that you have to, so people join sport to be strong, but you have to be strong to do a sport. It's the other way around. You have to have enough, muscle or endurance for that. And I think Taekwondo has definitely helped him with that discipline and, that strength, that workout that he comes and does 3 times a week. So,
so it's the mental endurance,
yes,
right? Like that you're going to do this till the end, right? There's a goal.
Yeah, there's a goal.
You're trying to get stronger. You're trying to get black belt. You're trying to perfect that kick. You're like, there's always that goal in mind, So I think Taekwondo has really definitely helped being goal-driven and outcome-driven and everything. So, we do this thing with our kids every end of the year. We create a vision board for all 4 of us. So we put our goals we put pictures for our goals.
Yeah.
We've been doing for like 3-4 years now. So Zara's goal was black belt. That was always there. And for Zayden also, the next step in his next belt. So that's visually there in front of them every day. So they see that as goals. And so that also helps not to quit. They're like, okay, this is my 2025 goal, so, and then we even start talking about what's your 2026 goal, right? So doing that kind of practice with them has also helped. Yeah.
So I would tell parents, come here, stick to the program, you will see a difference,
And take it seriously. Like, if you take it light, then your kid senses it too.
Yeah.
Yes. Right. And the belt assessments, right? Every 3, it is nerve-wracking. Even as an adult, when I do the belt assessments, it is nerve-wracking. They go through it again. I remember the first couple of almost a year, every 3 months, Zara would be so upset and scared and nervous. But today she's fine because she's been exposed to it again and again and again. I remember she was scared of you for the longest time. She'd be like, Pastor Ko's here. But now, because she's always around you, she's fine. Yes. So you don't just get over the fear and you don't expect your kids to magically feel better and just be okay. You have to expose them to that fear factor multiple times, then they would fail and then they'll get better and they'll fail and they'll get better. But so it's such a good place to fail and get better.
Why did you decide to, in the beginning, set the goal for black belt? Because that's 3 years for Zara. Longer, I think, for Zayden.
He's still not a black belt. Yeah,
right.
He still has.
Because he started when he was younger.
Yes, in super tight. Why? Because I didn't want them to quit. I wanted them to take this very seriously. It was very important. I think it's very important to set goals, right? And so the kids have an expectation. I think kids don't know better. Like, you can't go off by what the kids say. Sometimes it's hard. Like you said with Ava, it was hard for you. Even you, it's her studio, like her dad's studio, and still it was nerve-wracking, right? There were days she didn't want to come. So
first 2 years.
Yeah. So if you so we wanted to make sure that they didn't want to tell us they want to quit. So we set that goal. We said from the beginning, you guys are not going to quit this, right?
I mean, I think one thing we always say is like, we might not do well, but we won't quit, right? We'll keep trying, right?
Yeah, we just
even
have
if
to.
we don't do well, or like, we'll try to be the best, but we're not going to quit.
Yeah.
We'll, even if we fail, we're going to
You're going to fail, but the most important thing is that you don't quit, right?
So even like Zara and Zayden sometimes like they say like, oh, we don't quit. Our family doesn't quit. Like we don't quit everything. So,
Yeah.
They weren't born with that, right? They learned that from you guys.
Yes.
But that's so powerful and important for parents to hear because they're little parrots. Ava, oh my goodness, she says the same exact things as me. Like, I hear myself.
Yeah.
And I'll ask, where did you learn that? She's like, where do you think I learned it? Yeah.
And let me also add why parents should come to KOMA. It's the culture and it's the environment. So Zara right now being a middle schooler, you know how kids' emotions are so go crazy, their hormones, right? And this is her grounding place. I feel like, and even though there are times when it gets so hard for me in terms of, they have so much activities. Like I said, I'm literally scrambling everywhere. But in a way, I'm a little scared to quit KOMA because this is her grounding place. Like her friendships she's made, I feel this is what makes her who she is. I feel if I take her away from this environment, then she'll go adapt to some other environment which I don't want her to be in. Right?
Yep.
So, like I said, this is such a good place where you can bring up your kids. I trust even like the ladies I do KOMA Fit with, love them. Like yesterday, I didn't have my car. He dropped me. And then I walked in here and I was like, so George was at Sports Club next to Target. And I was like, I'll get there. And he's like, how are you going to get there? I was like, it's okay. And then at the end of the class, I was like, okay, who's taking me there? So.
And then you probably had multiple people.
Yeah. So it's just a community I trust and believe in. That's why I want my kids to grow up here, right? That's why for events, I also, choose to be here and do things because I want them to be here. I love this place.
So you're director of ER?
No, I'm not. So I am a couple titles. So I'm an associate professor now at UMKC for pediatrics.
I didn't know.
And then Children's Mercy, I'm an emergency medicine attending and also medical informaticist. So I do the I'm the ED medical informatics director.
That's where the programming came back in.
That's where the programming, but more than programming, it's using the technology and collaborating with people. So it's not just programming, it's about bringing the healthcare alliances, like for example, nursing, respiratory therapy, pharmacy, how they all interact with the EMR to safely take care of patients.
Got it.
So we're going to this whole AI age now. So we have a big conversion coming up. We're moving to the Epic software. So I've been working closely on that. So there's a lot of work on that, and that excites me because 50% of the time I see patients in the ER, which I'm passionate about. But getting to know that I can improve things at a bigger level for the physicians to improve. Documentation, workflow for the patient experience, those kind of things. I'm starting to get involved in the hospital, which is something I enjoy.
So 20% of our parents are physicians.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
Okay. I didn't think of that. Okay. Why this? I think in healthcare right now there is a push towards not just being a physician, but also being a leader. Okay, at least I see that in Children's Mercy. We have a Berry Institute that we started for leadership, and they offer leadership coaches to physicians. So I'm starting to hear some of these things that you're talking to the kids about, right? So I'm like, if I'm getting this at this level at my age, then if my kids are listening to some of these things at age 5 and 6, why not? I do think that there's a value for leadership within physicians. Like there's that drive towards not just being a physician and seeing patients. Like, you're seen as that leader in the hospital or hospital system, and I think maybe they're seeing that value that this is beyond Taekwondo, right? Obviously, they want an activity for the kids and they want discipline, but for me at least, I think that other aspect is huge, like the mentorship, the leadership, having. I always telling my kids that I think everybody, as kids, you need to learn to work customer facing, talk to people, learn to navigate difficult people, those kind of things. So I think even Zara, in her mind, she always thinks like, oh, I have that opportunity that maybe I can work as a teacher when I'm older, right? So just in general, I feel like that whole experience of developing yourself, being in a failing, and then also developing yourself as a leader, I think that might be something that interests, I think, physicians to send their kids here. That's my assumption. Okay? I can't prove it, but at least for me it was.
Sure.
And I think when kids probably, when they see in terms of sport, when I feel sometimes I think Indian kids are smaller built, I feel. And then
Indian kids are smaller?
Yes.
Yes.
And then when they go into sport, it's very challenging. Like the soccer or football, here football's a big deal. And parents don't send them to football for sure. And then when they think about an activity, I think martial arts is the next in line probably. Like I think in Indian culture in generally, they think about... one thing I forgot to mention is when I started KOMA Fit, it was for the first time I was like, we were talking about kids, who our kids are. And a couple of ladies said, oh my God, Zara's your daughter? Oh, they knew Zara. And they were like, oh, she taught my child. It was like, it was such a proud moment for me, like to be known as Zara's mom,
Yeah.
So that was really amazing. It just came to my mind.
I do have to mention, even just in the Asian culture, Indian, Korean, whatever, right? There's this overemphasis for academics.
There is.
Yes.
It's to me, it's almost extreme.
It is.
Meaning that that's all they think about, that's all they have their child do, that's all they focus on. But then they miss, I think, two very important things. First is going to be the sociability, being able to communicate effectively. Second, physical health.
Yes.
They think studying all day long, every day, 7 days a week, ACT, perfect ACT score, whatever, SAT, all AP classes, 10 clubs, all these things. But then their mental health, but the physical health, there's nothing there. They don't do anything for it.
Yeah.
I think it's starting to change, but that is 100% like a cultural thing.
That's a cultural thing.
I would 100% say that it's a cultural thing, but it's starting to change. And I think that might be why you're seeing a lot of these kids coming. Like, a lot of the Asian families, they're starting to realize that it's not just grades.
I just feel like that if you are taking care of your body, your brain's going to be more effective. You're going to be able to think sharper. I mean, we weren't made to sit all day long, right?
Yes.
We were made to move, get the blood flow, get your, take breaks, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But just even physical movement, I think, is important to have an optimal mind.
100%.
But then I see this all the time. So many years of doing this,
I feel like for example, like Zayden, like Pinky said, like he started at age 5 and now he knows that physical activity is important as KOMA and soccer, but I don't think that was emphasized when I was growing up, right?
Right.
It was not. The emphasis was more on academics, and if you do well in academics, sports can be in the background, right? So
it can be almost non-existent.
It can be
like
non-existent.
You don't have to do a sport. Yeah.
So unless you're in that realm or you put in that realm that sports is important, and you won't know. So then you grow up thinking it's not needed.
So maybe it's a cycle because the parents were raised like that.
Yes.
And then their parents may be raised like that.
Yes. But I also think when I was listening, it's like you can't blame your parents for everything.
Right.
And sometimes they did the best with what they had.
Of course.
Okay. So maybe there was not KOMA in Qatar. It was very hot over there. Like you don't go out and even play soccer or activities, right? There was no indoor.
There's no ice
places. There's no ice skating.
No ice.
So the best thing to do is probably maybe go to a gym or something like that. But even those were not popular at that time. I'm talking the 80s and 90s, right?
Yeah.
Unless you did some sport in school, there's nothing after activity. Unless if you were good in like soccer, you were part of the school team in soccer. At least when I was growing up. But there was not extracurricular activities you would think of at that age. Like, I don't think at my age, I mean, at age 5, my parents thought about putting me for any activity, right? You know, at that time. But I also think like now we've gone to the generation with all the devices and screens that anything that can take them away from that, I'm game for.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if they have a routine for taekwondo or soccer and they're excited for it, I know even if it gets expensive, I think it's worth it.
Yeah. Because what else are they going to be doing? If they're not busy at school or some extracurricular activity, what are they going to be doing?
Just
On
screen.
Yeah, iPad.
Yeah.
iPad.
I mean, right now it's so easy to just start looking at those shorts and YouTube shorts and YouTube videos and all that. You just get in the cycle where it's hard to get out of. Even adults get into it. You know, sometimes I'm stuck looking at it and I'm like, okay, I need to stop. You know, it's hard. It's geared to get you addicted. You know, and you know, working in the emergency department, I see how these devices are mentally affecting kids. Right, like really affecting kids to the point they come to the ER, and it's not just here. It's a national crisis.
Give me an example. How would somebody go to the ER because of a screen?
So, several instances. You know, there's bullying within Instagram, all those kind of things, devices. There's bullying, anonymous bullying. Then there is also
when the gadgets are taken away.
So, like, let's say if you're addicted to something and the gadgets are taken away. It's their life at that point, right? If you think they don't have a connection with a person and their whole world is on that phone, right? And I'm taking that away from you, their world crashes down. And like think as a 10, 11 or 14, between 11 and 15-year-old, like their world is gone. And then you put them in a room and they're stuck and they don't have an activity to do or anything to do. I mean, you just think of us in that instance. It's crazy, right? Like if you had activities to go to, you have a community, you have people. It's different. But then we're getting to that whole device world where our whole world is on that. Like so I can almost every instance of that I see is something. There's something related to a device. An issue with the device is what brings them to the ER.
Yes. So Zara's 13.
Yes.
She
12.
will be. Yeah, she's 12.
13 soon though.
In October. Yeah.
In October. Mm-hmm. Does she have a phone?
No.
When is she going to get a phone?
I had initially said when she's 14, but I'm still thinking about it. Yeah. I don't know. But Zara's doing okay. Yeah. Right.
Her friends have phones. Even at 11 and 12, her friends already have phones.
Right.
So I think one of the big reasons parents give is, well, kids are going to activity, we can't get hold of them, we need a phone. So Apple Watch has solved that problem now, right? So I have Apple Watch and like she can call only parents and certain people. She doesn't need to be on Instagram and all these things right now, right? I don't think even when it was created, we knew how to deal with it. Like it's kind of like smoking or alcohol. We still, once the damage is done, then we go back.
Now we know. Right.
Yeah. So I think if you see it rightfully, like a lot of schools have don't allow phones in school. Like you have to put it in your locker. You can't take it to your classroom. I think Blue Valley just did that too. You can't have phones in your classroom.
To me, that's common sense.
Right.
I mean,
it is, but it took so much of damage to kids to get here. So I would like to avoid as much as I can. I have an old phone that I've kept. Sometimes when we go on trips and stuff, she says, I want to take pictures, right? So I said, you can use that, but we're going to put it back when we come back. So I also don't want to be too stringent, like say, you're not going to get this ever I would like to have a conversation with her and learn what her maturity level is at that time.
Yes.
Because every child is different. Maybe Zayden can get it earlier, but Zara takes longer. But I want to be able to talk to her and explain why it's not good for you, and she understands it.
I wouldn't give it to Zayden.
Yeah.
I would probably give it to Zara now.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I mean, it all comes down to the child. Every child's different.
But also, I think me working in this field and seeing how much damage is done, I tell her about some of these situations that kids get into, and she's aware of it now. Like she sees how much it can affect you, and sometimes she says they came to the ER because of that, and I'm like, yeah. That's bad.
I think it's very important to have open conversation. Again, coming back to, why I had to quit my job is to spend that time with her, right? I know some parents are not fortunate. They don't get to, stay home. But it was so important for me. I realized, so when I went to school and I started working, she was in 5th grade. And I still think that was one of the most difficult years. And I think it's because I wasn't available for her to talk. And 6th grade, it changed a lot, where, as soon as she gets in the car, she has so much to say. And I give her the freedom, but she understands consequences too, right? If you break that, you get a consequence. So she's been pretty good with it. She would come and talk to me a lot of times. And I think I tell her as it is and why. Like, for instance, like kids play Roblox. Oh my gosh, what a dangerous game. I mean, he had heard in his ER a long time back, that's how a lot, I don't know if you know about Roblox.
Trafficking?
Yes,
people chatting and all that.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's so naive. People, like kids playing it, don't know that, right? But
I had to tell her that, I did tell her, and then so she would see her friends playing Roblox, but she's like, okay, I'm not going to play it, right? Because she knows what the consequences, and she would actually now try to tell Zayden about it, right? And she's like, no, that's not good for you. You can be on it, and so I think open conversation is so important, and spending time with kids and talking to them. Sometimes that's all it takes.
I don't think growing up, like maybe it's a cultural thing too, like I talk to my parents like this, right?
Yeah.
So we try to keep that window open for the kids to come and talk to us, which, very important during middle school, like they should be able to have an outlet to talk about anything, like whatever thing they're trying to process. They shouldn't fear to talk to the parents, like they should be able to come and talk, right?
Yeah.
So
but again, ground rules, respect, right? I will not handle disrespect. I've told Zara this, both my kids, I'm like, you can talk to me, but you cannot disrespect me. I do not want to hear that you disrespected another adult. You can disagree is fine, but respectfully, right?
Yes.
So the tone has to be set. Doesn't mean that the kids kind of say what they want. You know.
Unfortunately, I've seen that so often.
Yeah.
I mean, you probably have too.
Yeah.
All the parents come in with the kids, and the kids talk to the parents like they're equals.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
What is going on? That doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
It's really just not even healthy for the child, because if they don't have an authority figure in their life, that's going to be very dark in the future.
Yes.
If you don't have any fear of authority.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things about social media, I personally cannot think of any reason to allow any child, even under the age of 18, to be on social media.
I agree.
Right.
There's no reason.
There's no reason they should be on.
But some of these things are made for them, right? Like all these devices and apps, they get famous or popular from the teenagers famous, and then it goes on to the adults, right?
Right.
That's how like all these Snapchat, all that start like now, like we're like the old generation with Facebook and stuff, right? Yeah. So.
It's funny because I heard somebody say that this world or our country is run by tween girls.
Yeah, I've heard that
because
too.
of social media. They're the ones who are basically, I mean, first of all, think about some of these brands. Who is it? Rihanna. So Rihanna, she had her makeup brand. She sold it for $1 billion. Right? Who's buying this stuff? Taylor Swift. Who's buying her music? It's all these like teenage tween girls.
Right.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But thank you so much. First off, for you guys' support for 5 years, choosing us. We love having you, especially with your constant ambassadorship for KOMA. We're going to make you the official ambassador of KOMA. But it's been an honor to know you guys, and thank you so much for coming on the show.
You too.
Of course.
Thank you.
Happy to be here.